Hello and welcome to the Will It Send Me to Hell podcast. On today's show, we're going to be looking at the Evangelion rebuilds for some reason. Joining me today here is Michael.
Yeah, you sound enthusiastic.
I'm Dalton, by the way.
Yeah, you sound really enthusiastic about these movies. I feel like I don't even need to ask every single question that's going to come next. I feel like I know exactly how you feel already.
Yeah?
But, how are you doing, Dalton?
I'm doing good, man. My voice is maybe a little tired. I just did a 3-hour stream. Just came off the heels of it. Twitch.tv/CheddarBreeze every Tuesday. Join me.
One Tuesday. This has been the only Tuesday.
No, but it's going to be every Tuesday. It's going to be every Tuesday. But yeah, I'm feeling... I think after watching Evangelion, like the show, I was pretty depressed. I was pretty down in the dumps. I don't think I quite did my best on the last show.
Okay.
And after watching the rebuilds, now I'm just mad. I'm just fucking angry.
Yeah.
I got a chip on my shoulder. I'm pissed. I feel like my life has been wasted. And that's how I'm feeling. That's what I've been lately, man.
You're not gonna like this. And I'm gonna go into it more. No. Let me be clear.
No.
Okay, all right. We should go into what we feel about the movies.
Yeah.
Let me be clear. I don't like them. So I wasn't about to tell you that I like them.
Okay.
I like parts of them, and I'll go into that.
I like parts of them.
I like parts.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna say is, I think your reaction may be the correct reaction. Like getting angry at it may be the correct, maybe even the intended reaction.
Interesting.
Yeah, but yeah. So to go into how we feel generally about the movies, right?
Let's talk about the show first, because you're typically gonna watch the show like if you didn't listen to the last episode we did, weird that you're joining us now, but
Yeah, this is like the first sequel episode, really.
yeah, it is.
You could still get something out of it, but
Yeah, I think I hated the show. I don't think I expressed myself very well in the episode. Again, because probably be a couple reasons why. But I didn't express myself too well. I think the show is bad. And mostly bad morally. And I think it's shit. Anyway, Michael liked it.
I will say...
Do you think it's good morally? I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, I would say actually, it's been 2 weeks since we did the podcast. It feels like longer.
Feels like so much longer.
But it's been a while. I've had it sit in my mind. I've now been able to compare it directly with the rebuilds. And I have talked more about Evangelion with your wife than we talked about it on the podcast. And I now like the show more. I think it's actually really good. Especially with the contrast to the rebuilds, which I think are not very good. So I'm actually even more positive on the show than I was before.
I'm exactly as negative.
Okay.
But because I'm so negative on the show, when I watched the rebuilds, I thought like, holy shit, the show even did this better.
I was wondering how you
mean?
feel about that. Yeah, because there are definitely parts where you're watching the movie and it's like, wow, this is just worse than the show in every way. You know, especially the first movie.
Yeah. So let's I don't even know where to start because there's so much to get into.
Well, okay, we should start first with the basic. So like we've discussed what our thoughts are.
Yeah.
We both don't like it. We like parts of it.
I think we dislike it for different reasons.
Probably true.
Yeah.
I will say actually, I think these movies, Hideaki Anno has done some like really interesting artistic work that like I can't think of many works that have done what Hideaki Anno did with these rebuilds. I still dislike it.
I think
and I'll go into it.
Hideaki Anno should direct other people's stuff that other people write. I think he's a brilliant director. I think he's a retard also.
Apparently his Godzilla movie is really good.
Is it?
Yeah.
I believe it because
Shin Godzilla is supposed to be great. We gotta watch it.
Because I can't say much negative except for the CGI stuff. I think it looks like dog shit a lot of time in the movies.
Yeah. I'm not a fan.
But the aesthetically, very good.
Oh yeah.
And like the direction is very nice. Like there's a lot of really good stuff in the show. The writing is horrible.
I see what you mean. I don't 100% agree.
Someone else should write it. Someone else should write it.
Maybe.
I think Hideaki Anno's got got a bit of a George Lucas situation going on here. I think they gave him a little too much freedom with the rebuilds.
I think he's got a...
he's got a George Lucas syndrome in a lot of ways, too. Because think of the merchandising. With Evangelion stuff.
Yeah, that's true. I think he's got more of a Kojima situation.
I'm glad you brought up Kojima.
Okay.
I think we haven't even really talked that much about the movies yet, but I think Anno is he's a foil for Kojima.
They feel like twins.
I think they are shadows of each other. I don't think they're twins. They're shadows. Because like Anno is like the nega Kojima. Because Kojima keeps making the same game but different and better. Like he's exploring the same theme from different angles. From different angles in different ways. He's doing different things with gameplay also. And different time periods even. It's the same sort of thing where you go in, there's all these kooky bosses you gotta fight, you get captured at one point, there's a weird ending.
Well, there's a lot more similarities than just those, but yes.
There's you could go talk forever about the stuff that
you would have to
just
describe the entire game.
Yeah. But like each are distinct, which is weird that he did that.
Right.
Anno just said, yeah, I'm going to make the same thing. And you're going to say, wow, he's taking us in a different direction. And then at the end, you're going to say, nope, same direction. Same thing, worse.
I will say, I know exactly what you mean, but I do disagree that he didn't take it in a different direction.
Okay.
But I know what you're saying.
I think he almost took it in a different direction. Let's start talking about the movies.
Well, okay, yeah. First thing we should get preliminary about the movies is that are they at a basic level morally like good to watch? So like, would you let your kids watch this?
Absolutely
Violence,
not.
sex? Yeah, no, I don't think so. I mean, it's worse than the show in this regard.
Yeah, I think so.
The show I mentioned this before. The first instance of like sexual content in the show is like a fuck you to like the otaku crowd. The first instance in the movie, there's not even a hint of that. None of them. In any of the movies, there's not even a hint of like any... I guess I'd put it like this. The show had some nudity or like sexuality that was thematic and served a purpose. And then it had some that didn't.
It had much more that didn't.
I don't agree about the ratios, but I'd say that some that did, some that didn't.
We can agree on that.
Yeah. The movie feels like it had none that didn't. It was all just to sell copies.
And not just nudity, but like general type fan service.
Yeah. Well, okay, actually, it's an interesting point. There's two types of fan service. And these movies are full of both. The first...
I don't know either.
Okay, the first type is sexual stuff. So like characters that you like, or just any characters really, getting fucking naked, or like getting in scenes that reveal them, you know. Yeah. That's the type of fan service you think.
Suggestive moments.
Exactly. The second type of fan service is like what the words mean, fan service, as in like you're doing things that fans of the series will enjoy. And I will say, those parts I don't mind, but it is a lot of like...
What do you mean? Give me some examples.
Toji getting married to the...
Oh, that was great.
That's fan service. Because as a fan of the show,
I see what
you're a fan... Like if you're coming into it and you're a fan of the show and you see that happen, you're like, that's cool. I like that. That's fan service. That kind I didn't mind as much, but I will say both kinds are like fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, even the movies themselves could be called fan service or the opposite. But...
I think they are.
But also the opposite.
I think they're a pretty good cash grab.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, they did sell very well.
Yeah,
they did sell very well.
Pretty good cash grab.
Okay, but yeah, so their violence I don't think is any worse than the show, but sexuality is worse, and I would not let my kid watch this.
Oh yeah, there's absolutely
unless I had like I'd have to, you would have to do some substantial censorship.
Oh, if you're I know how to edit stuff. I could edit stuff for my kids. They could watch stuff.
I mean, Dalton,
I could do that easily.
I literally learned what like some basics of the programming system that visual novels are normally made in, so that I could censor a visual novel.
Yeah.
And then play it on stream. So yeah, it's doable.
I can censor stuff for my kids, absolutely.
Yeah, and like the thing I censored after you censor it is pretty all right. Well, okay, no. It's not, but I still wouldn't let my kids consume. Not important. You can censor stuff. But
that's a cool, because there's some like Like Enter the Dragon is like, I want my kids to watch this, get super into fitness and kung fu or whatever.
Right.
But there's one scene with boobs. Just take it out.
Yeah.
I can just say, hey, look at this movie. Don't look it up. But like, there, it's on this flash drive only.
Actually, so this girl I've been dating, we were talking about this kind of stuff a little bit.
Here's the drop.
This is important. No.
Michael's got a girlfriend.
I'm not.
We're gonna lose all of our listeners. You're not gonna be relatable anymore.
I'm still a Volcel. And the only thing I want to say is she was talking about this. Her parents would always get the TV versions of movies because they don't have any nudity.
Yeah.
But then she said later in her life she'd like watch them like, oh, I love this movie, and like what But I was just saying for our listeners out there who might find this a hot tip, because I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah, you
don't even have to censor it yourself. Find the TV version where they already censor those scenes.
Interesting. I wonder how you even do that.
I don't know.
TV.
Oh yeah, I think they would record them.
You watch them on TV.
Yeah.
All right, you want to talk about the movies?
Okay, yeah.
Let's talk about the first. These are 4 different movies I had to watch in 2 weeks. Now's a good time to mention the release schedule might be a little different depending on what we watch, because this was hell. The last 2 shows have been
we can
hell.
We can get into that.
We'll talk about that later. Evangelion 1.11. Thoughts? What do you think?
Well, I mean, my thoughts
we don't
are
have that much to say about this one,
my
right?
thoughts are kind of to them as a whole. I don't think any of these movies stands on its own.
No, absolutely not.
At all. Like, you need to watch maybe the last one, just because there are scenes in the last one that I really like, and I would like those scenes even probably by itself. But even then, I would have had to watch the show first. So I don't think any of these stand on their own. I almost see it like a mini-series.
It is kind of like a mini-series, you're right.
Because, like, you got to watch the whole thing.
But I do have a couple things I want to say.
Okay.
So, Evangelion 1.11, which, by the way, that is a pretentious title. It reminds me of...
Accurate.
It is kind of accurate, but it reminds me of The Naked Gun. Do you know what the Naked Gun sequels are?
What?
The Naked Gun 2.5 and The Naked Gun 33 1/3.
Oh, yeah.
Or like Lion King.
Yeah, I was thinking Lion King.
Or like the Lion King. I was annoyed by that. But Evangelion 1.11 is almost a complete waste of time. If you've seen the show, it's pretty much a complete waste of time. There's no differences.
I would say the only differences are negative, because they, at first, hearing the idea...
Disagree.
Hearing the idea of like these rebuilds, it's like, oh, he's going to go a different direction. He's going to have more time. And I heard that the first one is just like the first few episodes kind of redone. It's like, oh, he's going to have more time to like explore some of this. Literally the opposite. He cuts out scenes. All the scenes feel rushed to where like we said on the Evangelion show episode that like the show feels really weighty. A lot of the visuals and everything.
Yeah.
But because he rushes all the scenes in the show, it has no weight. Some of the action feels almost goofy, whereas like in the show it felt like really weighty.
Yeah.
And so it is just a plain... There are a couple of scenes that are added like towards the end that like, oh, that's a cool scene. But like for the most part, it's just a 100% worse version of the first few episodes.
And it's not a good like... I'm saying like too much. It's not a good movie like in and of itself. There's some stuff I could say about not really the last one, but Evangelion 3.33, where I don't like it. I think it's a lot of things are done bad, but in terms of structure, it's an okay movie.
Okay. Yeah.
This 1.11 is a fever dream. It's horrible. The pacing is dog shit.
It's the word.
It's completely unwatchable.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched it, but it's pretty bad.
I watched it, and it's pretty much impossible to follow. Like, you would hate it if you didn't already see the show. And I saw the show, and it was a waste of time.
Exactly.
But I understand why that's its own movie. Because this is something that the movies do better. And that is Shinji. I think Shinji is done generally better until toward the end. In the first 2 movies, Shinji is done much better. In the show, I kind of felt Shinji, he keeps wavering. And it's annoying. He keeps saying, yeah, I'll do it. I can't do it. I'm a hero. No, I can't do it. Everyone hates me. And it gets really, really annoying. What the movies do is they separate it out like really well in terms of character development. So in 1.11, we have a really nice arc of Shinji pretty much just being afraid. And by the end of that, he overcomes being afraid.
I get. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I have a response. So
it's really concise. And let me tell you about the next one.
Okay.
The next arc is Shinji now connecting to other people, which ends with him. Also, there's a nice little thing with Rei, how she's trying to connect other people too, and they're kind of connecting to each other. I think the theme doesn't connect with me that much, but it's done well at the very least. And that arc is then resolved at the end. So now we have Shinji growing in two distinct ways over two distinct movies. And when he complains about stuff in the show where it kind of seems like one thing after another, complaint, and he's not really growing, here we see two very distinct things, and we see like, it's so easy to see that growth. And I really appreciate that. And it's even more visible in 3.33, where now he's like, yeah, I'm going to help. Obviously. I mean, like, he at the end, he's like a hero. Much more than in the show. Okay.
Completely disagree. It's insane that you think this. You're fucking
Really?
great. I checked to make sure I had I thought this when I was watching it. I have the note. Shinji seems way worse without room to breathe. Because the pacing is so fast. Like, when you watch the show originally, there's a little bit of this feeling of like, why is Shinji refusing to pilot the Eva so like adamantly right from the beginning? You know, later on it makes sense, but at the beginning it's like, why the fuck? But watching the movie, it's even worse because it's like 10 minutes in the movie and he's saying like, I'm not gonna fucking do this, and it's like, so he goes so quick from that to like now he's piloting it, and it just feels so rushed that he feels way less believable. Like, people complain about the show that Shinji, like, get in the fucking robot, you're a piece of shit, I hate this character.
Yeah,
I did not get that in the show, but I got it so much in the movie where it's like, I don't, like, he has less justification.
Was it the same for 2.22?
2.22 in which way?
Because I agree with you 100%. I'm not saying it's done well. I'm saying it was a good idea. Like, what was done well is separating out his Shinji's two main arcs. I don't think it's done well. I think it was annoying, and the pacing really detracted from it. You're right. I agree. Sucks. But can you tell me the arcs were at least done?
I was going to say, so I don't think it's done better in any way. But I can definitely look at it and say, Anno was trying to make it more clear. And
yes.
And there were at least one or two parts, I can't recall specifically, but I know there was at least one point watching either the first or second movie where I was like, oh, that's a lot easier to comprehend. I see why he did that. And like, it kind of worked. But for the most part, it's like, I see that he's trying to do that, and he does not do that.
I think we're on the same page.
I think we might be on the same page. Yes. Yeah.
It was made much more clear. He still fumbled, especially pacing wise.
Well, and I'll say a lot of it, like, so it's like he's trying to make it more clear, but he doesn't make it better. And I think what we disagree about is that I think the show does a lot of this stuff well. And part of the reason it does it well is like the subtlety and the weight and the room to breathe. And so like, if you're going to take out those things to make it more clear, you have to replace them with something. And he doesn't. Like, he just takes out the ambiguity and leaves us with a shittier product. To make it more simple, which it's just not good though anymore.
I think we took different roads, but we got to the same place.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought it was pretty smart in 2.22 to get rid of the whole Suzuhara as a pilot thing and just make it Asuka. It just simplifies the whole thing, gets everything a lot tighter. That was a pretty smart decision.
I will say
which is the first real big difference.
Yeah. There are some things where you look at it and it's like, okay, I see what he's doing. Like, he's simplifying. Even if we want to skip ahead a little bit, at the end of the show, where like, instead of everyone kind of wanting the Human Instrumentality Project, it's like, it's Gendo.
Yeah,
you know what I
that's
mean?
way better.
It just simplifies it, so there's no ambiguity. You're not left at the movie like, so how am I supposed to feel about the Human Instrumentality Project? It's like, oh, Gendo wanted it. Gendo's the villain. It's bad. Got it. Which I feel like, you know, for me, seeing it, it's like, okay, so I got the right message the first time, and now this just feels kind of patronizing, but I can see why he did it because he's like, I want to make this clear. Yeah. And in some ways, it is more clear.
The clarity for me from the rebuilds versus the show is really important because so much of the show is vague and unclear. And if you want to get a lot, like if you want to really understand the show, you can't just watch the show.
At least you can't watch it once.
Yeah,
you gotta watch it like 2 or 3 times.
Which is, I think, really a weakness. This I don't need to watch a second time.
I think
I would actually kill myself if I had to watch this a second time. Which I might do because I'm thinking, dude, 5 years when we're big, we're gonna, for $10, get the rebuild commentary tracks, you and me.
That'd probably be pretty good.
That'd probably be pretty good.
But it's how I'd put it is like never mind, I'd just be restating myself. Keep going.
Okay. What do you think of the time skip?
I kind of like it thematically.
I love it.
Yeah, I kind of like
cool.
it, actually.
It's taking a completely different
actually,
direction.
I will say, 1 and 2, the first 2 movies, are like, why am I fucking watching these movies? 3 and 4 are like, this is kind of cool.
I maintain trash. There's some stuff I like.
I'll say maybe like the first entire half of the 4th movie is
you mean
amazing.
Third or fourth?
Of the 4th movie.
Oh, wrong. Third, yes, correct. The entire
I kind of agree with you on that one too.
He kicks so much ass.
I really like.
Finally, a different direction. Shinji has grown. He's now like a hero, and he has to deal with. He's not needed right now. That's a really cool way I could look at Shinji now. Let's put him in a new situation. No.
I will say, yeah, actually, I like the 3rd and 4th movies, but not all of them. You know what I mean? Like I like parts of them. And so what I was going to say is I like the first half of the 4th movie that's like everyday living. It's so nice. I love it. It's so wholesome. It's so I loved it. It's heartwarming. And then the first half of the 3rd movie I liked because it's like finally there's some weight back to it. It feels like they're all in dire straits. It feels like their decisions matter again. It's not too bad. It's not like terribly paced anymore. Like finally there's weight to everything.
Misato's going to kill Shinji.
Yeah, it's got weight.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
Sarah and I was watching this with Sarah. We were so happy watching 3. This is going to be great. This is so interesting. And then we watched it. We got a kid. It's hard to watch these movies all in one sitting. So we would come down for the second day, and then we go, "What the hell happened? This was so cool."
Yeah.
And now it's the same bullshit as before.
I maintain that the first halves of 3 and 4 are pretty good.
There's a lot of cool stuff in the first half of 4, except, and this just annoyed me to no end. Ray just you can call it Ray.
Yeah.
Asking the most stupid questions.
Oh, I loved it.
I hated it.
I loved it.
You can do that a couple times, okay? You can't keep what is good night? What is good morning? You can't you use context clues, you moron.
Did you like how it accumulated though? How it resolved? Her letter at the end?
No. It was the worst letter ever written. It was so stupid.
Well, and that's not what I like the most about it. What I like the most about it was just that, like, he's clearly showing the joys of everyday living, and I think he does that well, actually.
I hate that I had to keep hearing Ray ask the stupidest questions. Oh, did you see that she ate a cat, by the way?
No.
You catch the part where she ate a cat?
No.
Do you remember the montage? With like the nice guitar music.
Yeah.
It's Ray like living her daily life.
She eats a cat.
And then, then it's all these still shots, you know?
Yeah.
And then there's one shot of her finding a cat, and then a close-up of the cat, and the next shot, dinner.
That is the language of film. That's the language of film.
She fed that cat to a family.
Interesting.
I was laughing out loud. What the hell?
I didn't notice that.
Jeez.
All right. Anything else you want
to? Yeah. Wait. Just you mean like general kind of broad strokes type things? I think it was annoying, or actually not annoying. I think it was hilarious. So. 3 and the last one, 3 and 4, take place 14 years after the original. Right. And there's Gendo and Fuyutsuki. Mm-hmm. And they're saying, like, yeah, this is still all going according to plan.
Yeah, I love the idea that Gendo has planned this out for 16 years in advance. And he's like, yeah, this is exactly what we wanted to happen.
It's so stupid.
It's like, there's, like, how
they're
long?
They're like QAnon guys.
Yeah.
They're trusting the plan.
Like, how long is the Dead Sea Scroll? It's gotta be a fucking library's worth, because there's no way that the Dead Sea Scrolls have 16 years of planning in them. Yeah, I also thought that was really
that was
funny.
So dumb. I guess, yeah, that's really broad strokes. Okay. I like action and stuff a lot. You're not really an action movie guy, are you?
Nah, I mean, I can appreciate it, but...
Yeah, I like it a lot. If it's really done well, I get super into it. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of artistry to it.
Yeah.
But 3 and especially 4, the action sucks. It's not good. Yeah. And it's hard because it's exciting. It all looks good.
Yeah.
But I guess there's no like context or setup and payoff to a lot of stuff. Like when they're coming down... They're falling down from the Wunder?
Yeah.
And there's a million different, like, Eva type things. Maybe tell me what they are so they feel like a threat or something. There's a lot that was just, like, fumbled writing-wise.
I'd say 2 big problems I have that make it to where it just doesn't feel, like, important at all. One is that they have the problem of power creep. Where, like, in the show... Do you know the concept of power creep?
No, tell me about power creep.
Power creep is like when a show or a series or something goes on. It's also a problem in like video games. But like you have like the basic level of everyone's like fucking Naruto or something. You don't know Naruto, but there's a good like everyone's a ninja at the beginning. Just basic ninja. They can use knives and shit. By the end of the show, they're like gods. Right? Because you have to keep upping the stakes over time.
Yeah.
So like Evangelion, the beginning is like the robot, like, getting hit with, like, one hit, it can feel really weighty. By the end, they need millions of Evas. Like, that's the power creep. So it feels, by the end of it, it just feels like this is fucking over the top. This feels so stupid. And then the second thing is so many of these characters, like Mari, for instance, nobody fucking cares. So, like, especially when they start the third movie.
Nothing to do with it.
They start the third movie with her doing the action. So it's like the key to action to make it like you need to have a character you like or care about in a situation that matters. And it's like you start the movie with a character I don't care about and I don't know what's going on. So it's like this is stupid and they keep doing that. She's like in most of the action, you know? But yeah. So that's why I think a lot of the action falls flat.
It's I guess
there's a lot of it.
At this part of the show, I'm really supposed to talk about the themes and stuff I found in it, and why or why not those are good. Why they might send you to hell.
Right.
It's just not good. It'll send you to hell because it's a waste of time, and if you like it, you need to reevaluate yourself because you're some kind of loser otaku. If you like, I'm not. There's some anime that's you can like. If you like this, you just like this because you like things like this.
I actually can't think of the demographic who likes this. You know what I mean? I don't think it's loser otaku. I think they like Evangelion. I don't know who's supposed to like this.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I don't. I like parts of it. Parts that are done well, but I don't like it. You know.
Yeah.
So do you have anything to say about like a theme that you got from it, or like I mean, yeah.
There's
because I do. I have some stuff to say for sure.
I think, like I mentioned before in the last episode, there's one of the themes would be accept yourself, which is not really a good theme. You had a little bit more of a disagreement with this. You were saying that you have to accept that you're bad in order to move forward, which you're right. I don't think the show or end of Evangelion showed that next part. You think it did? I don't think it did. I think we have the same thing. I even have a quote here where Gendo says, "Am I forbidden from Yui because I'm weak?" And then Shinji in the vision thing says, "No, it's because you won't accept you're weak." We don't see Gendo grow from this. He doesn't learn, but it's the same sort of thing. We also have a theme that I mentioned before. What?
You dying over there?
Yeah, I'm dying over. I've been talking for like 4 hours now, nonstop. There's also some pro bad parent stuff. The bad parent really cares about you. You can see that again with Gendo, where he said, "I believed leaving Shinji would be best for him." Now, he's kind of shown to be wrong, but he still believes that. In his mind, he's still kind of the right thing. So maybe that parent who's bad to you really does love you in the end, which, wrong.
I think it was worse in the show.
Yeah.
The bad parent thing. In this, he's the villain. Like, he is. They've cut away all the ambiguity to make him just 100% the villain.
But I have more.
Okay.
There's also Misato, who abandoned her son.
Oh yeah.
And
For sure.
she really did.
She's a piece of shit.
Yeah. Who said this? I think Shinji tells Misato, like, "Yeah, your son's doing good," and she's like, "Yeah, good."
Yeah,
you're a bad mother. You abandoned your son. You should feel bad.
Yeah.
Oh, it pisses me off so much when I see stuff like that in media. People should not be seeing that. It's so destructive for a parent to see that, saying like, "Yeah, I'm a good parent," or for a kid to say, "Yeah, my parent really does love me in the end, despite no evidence of this."
Yeah.
That just really grates on me because I've been listening to Molyneux for years.
I'd say in the one thing I noticed that in these movies, especially the last one, and I think it just makes less sense in this than it even does in the show, because in this it's like Gendo says that where like, "I thought it'd be better," and there's like no explanation, and it just like moves right past, and like I'm left thinking like, why did you think it'd be better? What? Huh? And then like with Misato abandoning her kid, it doesn't even make sense. Like, okay, like it's been 16 years at that point. Like, you have a ragtag team of like people who don't know how to do fucking anything. He's 16 years old, which is older than Shinji. Why can't he be on the fucking ship? If you lose, everyone dies anyway. He's not in more danger. It doesn't make sense at like stupid. A basic level. It's like he's 2 years older than Shinji is now.
I don't think this thing through.
No, it's like that's just fucking stupid.
Yeah. I guess last. Hey, where did they get money for all this stuff? All this crazy technology? Yeah, where did this come from?
Who knows? Because in the show,
there's 14 people in the whole planet. Who are they getting these taxes from?
In the show, they do show later that there's a village. They say the village has 1,000 people. They say there's other village, but that doesn't explain at all how they got the fucking money.
Explains nothing.
Yeah, it's like they have more funds, it seems, than almost they've like ever had, basically. Yeah. And like there's like no government left in the world.
In the show, everything had weight because everything felt like a last stand, which was really cool. And they're learning and moving forward, but
they get that a little bit in the third movie. It starts to come back, and then you lose it again.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of annoying. I guess my last thematic point is this is more so with the show did this a little bit more than the movies, but the movies did this a little bit. Where you should try, sort of the point of this is go and try and connect with other people.
Right.
This is more meta, but good luck watching a show like Evangelion and trying to connect with other people. Hey, have you seen Evangelion? The average person watching the show or the movie will say like, "This is pedophilic garbage. This is stupid." The average person?
That's definitely not true. Just
you
Evangelion,
think so?
Evangelion, the show is like one of the most watched shows of all time.
Have you met the average person?
And half the people like half of everyone who's watched Evangelion likes it, and Evangelion has been seen by like millions of people. Oh, at least half. A lot of.
Have you talked to the average person? The guys you work with. You're a blue collar guy.
That's an interesting question.
Go say, hey, watch Evangelion. Would you feel cool with saying, hey, you should go watch this anime, Evangelion? Would you feel cool about that?
There are very few anime I would ever recommend to any normal person.
Proving my point. Thank you very much.
But that doesn't... Yeah, I mean, like, I wouldn't recommend Angel Beats, even though I think Angel Beats is an amazing show with, like, no, like, real downside to it, you know? Yeah. So, I still wouldn't recommend that.
I personally think this would kind of drive you away from the average person you might want to go connect to.
Well, but the point is not, like, obviously I'll get into this more later, but his point is not you should connect to other people through my fucking show.
I think...
That's why he shows normal everyday life in the show. He wants you to do the furthest thing from watching anime.
I think watching this show makes you fucking weirder.
Movies, by the way.
Movies, yeah. Makes you weirder.
I don't know.
That's what I think. It made me weirder. It made what you... This is the general premise of the show. What you watch affects you. Right? When we did the last episode, my interpretation of Shinji, weak man. I didn't feel good on the last show. I don't think I was up to snuff. I was depressed. I was in a funk after watching that show. It affected me. Now it made me mad.
I think it's a huge reach. I think you're reaching hard.
I don't think it is.
I think it's a huge reach.
Osmosis. I got osmosis from the show.
I mean, it's true that shows affect you, but it's also like, I think you came into both of these somewhat with a negative mindset, so you got a negative message out of it. Of course that's what's going to happen.
I did not come into the movies with a negative
Okay,
mindset.
The show at least. You said the show, you know, weak guy, and then you feel bad. I think that's a stretch. Huge stretch.
I don't know. You can think that. I'll let the viewers decide. Everyone likes me in the show.
No one views.
Everyone's always DMing me like, yeah, Michael, he sucks.
That's not true.
Dalton, you're the smart guy. You're the way cooler guy than the show.
Okay, yeah, all right.
All right, that concludes my thoughts.
Shorter than normal, but I guess that's because you really just didn't like it at all.
Well, and I don't think there's really a whole lot to say about it. I disagree. It wasn't done well.
Yeah, I agree that a lot of it wasn't done well.
Anno fumbles, as a director, he's kind of cool. He fumbles a lot of the big stuff.
Well, okay. Since it was a little shorter than normal, do you still want to, like, do the intermission here before I get into my sort of points?
What? How long?
We're 40 minutes.
40 minutes?
So it's not too bad.
That's an okay time.
It's a little early.
I got one more little point I could make then.
Okay.
I'll drag it out a little bit more.
Okay.
Maybe you can help me with this because you know more about the Eastern cultures. Mm-hmm. So I do have a question. I notice a lot of Japanese media, mostly like anime stuff, but some video games do this too, where about the second half, the entire second half of the thing is climax. Have you noticed that? It was with end of Evangelion. It was the same with. The fourth rebuild, it was like this. Just off the top of my head, I know Akira is the same thing. So I was wondering if this is like a Japanese or like a Eastern, because I know they have like a 5-act structure.
I was just going to say that.
So I was wondering if it had something to do with that. Personally, I know there's different cultural differences. Maybe I'm not used to it. I'm a Western man. I hate that. It's exhausting. I don't want the climax to be the second half of the thing. That's why I don't like Akira. A lot of people like Akira. I don't like it. It is annoying to me. But did you know anything about that?
I was actually just checking to make sure. So yeah, I think it has to do with the 5-act structure because like a Western structure is like you've got 3 acts, right?
Yeah, you can have others, but it's usually 3 acts.
It's usually 3 acts. In like Chinese and then therefore a lot of Japanese stuff, there's a 5-act structure. And if I remember correctly, it's like right in that 3rd act is like the turning point. And then so everything after that is kind of like the effect of the turning point. And that's why I think a lot of anime and like Eastern stuff is like it's got like kind of a normal first half and then something wild happens and then the rest of the show is like dealing with what's happened.
Yeah.
And since if that middle thing is like super fucking wild, then just the whole rest of the show is wild. You know what I mean? I think it does stem from the 5-act structure.
I hate that.
I don't know. It can be a little like jarring. I don't even think that's...
I might like it if I'm Japanese. I don't know, but I don't
think that's why. I think it's... I think it might just Akira I like, but I think it might just be a problem with the way they're doing the 5-act structure. I doubt the 5-act structure is supposed to be like that. Mm-hmm. It's probably supposed to kind of wind down, not just stay at 10 for the rest.
That's what Akira does. There's the twist. He's a big, giant, mean guy. The rest of the movie is so boring.
I don't know. I like Akira, but it's been a while since I've seen it.
And that's what End of Evangelion does. That's what the fourth rebuild does. It's just, and now we just have the rest is just this crazy thing.
Yeah. That is probably worse than the way the West does it because we're better at everything.
That is true.
Yeah.
Okay, now we can do the break. I'm glad I asked you about that because that.
I think it is the 5-act
There's
structure.
a lot of stuff like that that's like that. There's a lot of stuff like that that's like that.
Yeah,
clip that. Clip it.
Put it on your tombstone.
Yeah. What do you want to talk about, man?
Well, we got a bunch of emails from one guy, and we got a few. But,
we got a few. Yeah, we got a lot.
But first, I mean, this is early, but it's fine. I'll have more to say after this intermission. So, thank you to our producers. Do we have any today?
Yeah, we have 2.
Okay.
Well, it's the same 2, but they're tied. So
there's another one. We got an email a second ago. He's not going to be
second ago?
Yeah. Some guy gave $2.
Oh, so he would be associate executive producer, I guess.
Yeah.
I didn't see that one. I turned my phone off so we didn't get interrupted. But then
that was dumb.
I forgot I needed to turn it on.
Silence it.
So we could do.
Well, do you remember who the producers? I know who the last.
Yeah. Our executive producers tied are Matthew and CONFOX. So thank you very much. You will be listed as executive producers in the show. If anyone, you can put that on a resume or something. If someone says, "Hey, are you really an executive producer?" Give him my email. All right, I will vouch for you. I'll say yes. We could not have done the show without you. It's a huge difference.
The associate executive producer was Jammeyboy, who gave $2 and said, "I don't usually keep money in my PayPal, but this is what I have." Okay, good. Thank
you very much.
Given what you have, that's what you know.
They are producers. Every little bit helps.
It does.
I mean, if anything you do for the show, there's
I'm gonna buy a pack of gum with that $1 I get out of that.
Yeah, that's great.
I don't eat gum. That's just poison. I'm kidding.
There's it's the value for value system. Your time, your talent, and your treasure. Mostly treasure because we're going to be donating money. That's the easiest. But also the last show we had, an anonymous person sent us some art, which is really cool. I put that up on the YouTube video. So anything like that, if you have...
I guess what we should say, the reason we're doing all of this, in case you're first time listening, you want to know, we don't take advertising money because we don't want to be like those embarrassing scenes in the Evangelion rebuild movies where she grabs a bag of Frito-Lay chips and she opens her fridge and it's full of fucking Kirin beer and actual name. That's stupid.
It's embarrassing.
So we don't take advertiser money. We only take your money when you offer it for a fair exchange for the service we're doing.
Yes. Some people say donations are never expected, always appreciated. We expect them, actually. If you like the show, that's just what you gotta do. It's value for value. We're giving you value, give us back some value.
It's a simple process. We are just asking whatever you think it's worth. I don't care what that number is. Maybe it's Jamie with $2.
Yeah.
But whatever you think it's worth, that's what we're asking for.
Simple as that.
It's as simple as that.
Simple as that.
But so we've also gotten some emails here.
Yes, we do read the emails. I would like to read this for... You can email us about anything. We'd like for you to email us about the thing we're going to talk about.
Obviously. Yeah.
But anything.
Until we get too flooded with emails, we'll read about any email.
Yeah. And send me anything. We got a lot of questions before about stuff to do with the Catholic faith. I love that. Those are really, that's like the best part of the show. They're really fun to answer. Here's an email from someone whose name is Fuck Anno.
Okay, Anno.
Anno, yeah.
I assume.
And the subject line is Fuck Hideaki Anno, that lazy cunt.
Okay.
Let's read the email.
Okay.
All caps, by the way.
The whole email?
The entire email, okay, yes. Right. There's a couple bolds.
Bold and cap. Wow.
a couple parts that are bold. Excuse me. These movies are ass cash grabs. Don't listen to, quote, his delusions. I think that's either referring to Anno or you. But you don't like it.
No, I think he's referring to Anno.
Anno made this to make money off of Eva simps. This movie is cow on trash farm. What does that mean? And will be Hideaki Anno in next life. This guy was so mad. He's not even,
stopped
he's
grammar.
Not even
like, yeah.
sense. The characters are garbage. The fucking time skip is garbage. Nothing good is added. There's too many robot fights, and that bitch Mari makes my retardation activate. These movies are bad, except that part where Shinji is in the town. That's okay. Everything
Hell yeah, dude, yeah!
Everything is written lazy trash. Characters mean nothing, and the ending is shippers cop-out. P.S. Your mom gay.
Thank you. I like that.
Was a good. I don't really respond to these. I responded to this one. I love this email. Thank you.
I like that he liked the town part.
The town part was okay.
Me too. I liked the town part.
It was okay. The
All
Ray parts were annoying, but it was okay.
Nah, I liked Ray in that. Well, it's not even Ray. It's
Gosh, this was just
Ray.
a wall of text. Can you decipher that?
I'll pull it up on my phone. So wait, this is.
If you're gonna send us emails,
please format them.
Yes. Use paragraphs.
All right, I'm gonna try and skim this. I'm gonna start reading this, and at some point I may stop if I think this is not worth it.
Okay.
This is from Jammeyboy, who gave us $2. So we'll attempt to read this.
Associate Executive Producer, thank you very much.
I would honestly say this is a very, very possibly a semi-sequel to End of Evangelion. You think it's a semi-sequel? Of course it's a semi-sequel. Okay. Since Kawaru talks about seeing this before, this is the aftermath of the end of Evangelion, since Shinji is messed up and tries to do it all over again, but this time it's a redemption for everyone. This is shown even more. There are multiple. Okay. So, I think what he's saying, I'm not going to read all this. It's so long and there's very little punctuation. But for his first question is do you think this has all happened before? Honestly, two things I want to get out of the way. One, I find these these explorations of the plot so boring. Where people are speculating of ooh, do you think? But let's just be clear. Yes, they say it explicitly, this has all happened before, and that Kawaru is basically seeing the events of Evangelion and the movies over and over. I think thematically it means more than that, which is really interesting. But to answer your question, yes, but I also don't want to go more into that because I find it so boring. It's like nerd culture. You've watched the newest Marvel movie and what do you think's going to happen next? What do you think it means? It's what does it mean on a spiritual level? Not what does it mean what is...
It's so boring.
You think Batman's going to be the next one?
Yeah, there's evidence here that, he might be the next one. Yeah, it is annoying. It's like I'm a Bond fan. I get annoyed when people say, "Oh, what if they're all connected? What if James Bond's a code name and double?" And it's who cares? Who cares at all? It doesn't make any difference. You reading it?
Now I'm reading his next email. So this
guy sent us 6 emails.
You know what? Here's okay, Jamie, my man. You did better on the second email. You actually have paragraphs instead of just one block of text. But you need two things. One is you need to format your thoughts, which you've started to do. Good for you. And second, you need to summarize your thoughts. Because I'm reading this and it's let me just, for instance, I didn't realize it, but the red beach scene, which I'm sure you know is a reference to End of Eva, all unnecessary. Of course it's the same scene. But shows a grown-up Asuka, which is why the suit is ripped, showing she finally grew up with Shinji and that things can work out with them, but they do love each other. This is such when you write an essay, you ever hear of ring theory? You start with your premise, you end with your premise. Why am I reading this? Tell me what you're trying to get at with all of this. It's a bunch of evidence, but I don't know what this is supporting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're making a case that it's like you go into a courtroom and Exhibit A, Exhibit B, Exhibit C, and it's there's no court case going on. What are you talking about?
Michael, he's a producer.
Which is why I'm trying.
You have to shut up.
All I'm saying is, one more thing though. He says, do you think they will do a series between the 14-year period since Shinji's story is done? I think if you think they're going to make another Evangelion movie, I can't. Did you watch the movie?
He wished for there to be no more Evangelions, like a Madoka Magica.
Yeah, and I think that's also really thematically important, but like I cannot imagine coming away from this movie, the last one, and thinking like, you think he's going to make another one? No. He's not going to make another one. There's no, unless he's like fucking broke and he completely sells out. But yeah.
I got a cool email for you.
Okay, sure.
We already hear so much about who is best girl, who is best man.
Okay, best man's an interesting question. So
Suzuhara.
We're talking about the rebuilds, right? Because it's a different question with Evangelion as well.
We can discuss both, but both are Suzuhara. Or Kawaru if you're gay. If you're into the whole gay thing.
See, the interesting thing is Suzuhara Toji is a moral relativist. So
is he really?
There's a part during the rebuilds where
But I like him.
But he's well, maybe not even moral relativist. You know what? It's ambiguous enough that I'm probably being unfair to him. He says he has like a few lines where he's talking about like what's happened since the near third impact, where he says like, I did some things I'm not proud of to help my family, but that's just what you have to do. And he's clearly implying that he like stole from someone or killed somebody, which like, to be clear, is not really something you have to do. You know what I mean? But it's ambiguous. So I'm being too harsh. Yeah, he's a good character.
He's great.
He gets married. He has a kid. He's like being a doctor with no degree. I love that.
I'm gonna do that pretty soon.
I could do that. Yeah. And like, yeah, I think the other like contender for best man is Kensuke.
His friend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like those are the best characters.
The two regular guys.
The two regular guys.
They're the best guys.
I really enjoy that Kensuke is now like the leader because he was like a survivalist LARPer in the past. Like that's why. Yeah. He like did all this camping out in the woods and survivalist shit, and like now it paid off.
Low key, that's kind of what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, it'll never pay off, but it'll
pay off.
I like
man.
seeing it.
I got a VPN, man. I'm looking up guerrilla tactics books. I'm looking over my shoulder.
But yeah, I mean that I think one of those two is the best man.
I don't like all the female characters in Evangelion, especially the rebuilds. It's like all the interesting characters are female except for a couple.
No, I don't know. In the rebuilds, I feel like almost no one's interesting.
That's a better take. That's an even better take, actually. I'm going with yours.
Like
I changed my mind.
In the show, I think there are a lot of interesting characters. Even if you dislike the show, I think there's a lot of interesting characters. In the movie, it's like nobody's.
What do you think of the pink hair bitch with the lips?
She sucks, but I think she sucks on purpose.
Okay, cool. I'm looking forward to your part of the show. That sounds interesting.
She fucking blows, dude. Actually, this has nothing to do with the themes I'm going to go into later. She's a brand new character, but she's not a brand new character. She's actually in the weird spin-off manga and shit.
Oh.
So that's the reason why she fucking like meows like a cat and all this fucking weird shit and smells Shinji. It's because in the manga she has like cat DNA or some stupid bullshit. But they even say though, like that, like I think the person who wrote the manga, who's not Hideaki Anno, said something like, yeah, but it's not the same person. So like they just kept that weird shit for no reason. She sucks is what I'm getting at.
Yeah. What about her big lips? You like her big lips?
I didn't notice that she had big lips.
She got big lips.
I noticed that she continually talks about the fact that she has big breasts, which is strange for this woman to like admire herself and her own figure at like every other moment.
I think it's pretty based myself.
Okay, whatever.
Any other emails? I know
there was one other.
My phone is somehow at 2%. They're all from Jammy.
There are others from Jammy. I'm just trying to see. Okay, can you give us a rant? No.
The subject.
Oh, wait. Here's okay. Sorry. What books are you reading? I will say this. Okay, I just bought, and this is actually going to be relevant. I just bought Meditations on the Tarot by Valentine Tomberg, which despite the title is not at all about divination or anything like that. He was a New Age guy who converted to Catholicism. Oh. So this book is like an apologetics written kind of like in the language of the New Age, but he is like a very Catholic guy. Well, he's dead now, but he was. He actually was like a student of Rudolf Steiner, who is the founder of Anthroposophy, which very new.
I thought that was
stuff.
the guy from Black Ops.
No.
Different guy?
But yeah, so I just bought that. I haven't started reading it yet. And I also bought a book by Roger Buck called The Gentle Traditionalist. He's also a convert from the New Age to Catholicism.
Yeah, but what are you reading?
What
Everyone buys books.
Well, and I just finished. I'm going to read those next because I just finished Vaccines. What's the name of the title? Vaccines,
Michael,
Autoimmunity, and
this is going on
Future.
YouTube.
It was written before Corona.
But before what? The beer, you mean?
Yeah, the beer.
Uh-huh.
It was written a couple years ago, 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay.
I think maybe right before, actually. But it's called Vaccines, Autoimmunity, and the Future of Childhood Illness, I believe is the title.
Okay,
it's something similar to that.
Let's not get into too much what that's about because this is going up on YouTube.
It's about how vaccines are bad. The guy also, surprisingly...
Fucking stop!
The guy also, surprisingly, is or is at least sympathetic to anthroposophy.
What's that?
So anthroposophy is Rudolf Steiner's idea. It's a new age idea of like that we're in a new age of Aquarius, and he basically believes in Jesus, but he believes that you need to get to Jesus directly. One way of explaining it I've heard is the Protestant faith like believes that like we don't need the church to get to Christ. Mm-hmm. Anthroposophy takes it one step further and says we don't need anything. Like, we don't need the sacraments. We don't need even, like, a church building or, like, an organization at all. We need none of it. We don't even need revealed scripture. We don't need the Bible. We don't need any of it. But
depends on what you mean by need.
Well, so he said with, like, meditation stuff, you can directly encounter Christ. And he's wrong. But he has some interesting ideas, and he seemed to have been... this is Rudolf Steiner.
He might be right about a lot of things.
He like anthroposophy has founded like a bunch of institutions based on his writings, which are good. Like they have these farming, like organic farming stuff. Cool. They also have like these communities where they help like disabled people, both mentally and physically. They're supposed to be really good. So like good stuff's come of it. And he seemed to be genuine. Like he wrote a book called like How Does the World Find Christ Again? Like that was the title. So he's like, he thinks there's a way to do it, but he like legitimately thinks like we've lost, religion and there's some new way forward. But he's wrong, but he seems genuine. It's interesting anyway.
It sounds like it.
But yeah. So I've been reading stuff like that.
I'm reading, it's hard because I'm busy. Hopefully now that I'm not watching 4 movies. Right. I'll have more time. I'm reading Gothic Violence by Mike Ma. I'm getting close to the end of that.
I'm looking forward to reading it.
Yeah, it's cool. I won't get into too much of it because we might do harassment architecture.
Yeah, Jamie actually at the end of this said, "I can't wait to see your podcast of harassment architecture."
Yeah, we'll do that at some point. It's probably coming up before too long.
I will say, so the guy who did the audiobook of I went down a rabbit hole. Okay, I went down a rabbit hole, and the guy who did the audiobook version of harassment architecture tweeted like something about like I bought unvaccinated breast milk to restart my immune system, and I was like, that sounds fucking wild. And I emailed him, like I sent him a DM like, did you actually do that? Also, I really like harassment architecture. He didn't answer my question. He just said like, cool, I really like that you liked my version of harassment architecture. He ignored my question. So this guy's out there fucking drinking women's breast milk, and he doesn't. He apparently is okay with telling people that, but when confronted, he won't be a man about it.
Called out, dude.
Yeah, I was like, did you really do this? Where did you fucking buy it? Is that a thing? And like, he's like, I'm ignoring you. I'm not gonna. Yeah.
Pretty smart. Pretty good idea.
Yeah.
So, what are we doing next?
Okay. Next, we're apparently doing Shrek.
Thank you. Thank you. I've been pushing for this. Been pushing for Shrek. We got Shrek. Congratulations, everybody. We'll now be doing a show about something fun. Shrek, maybe Shrek 2.
Probably Shrek and Shrek 2, but we'll see.
We'll see.
But gather your thoughts on Shrek for the next one.
I haven't seen Shrek since I was a child, so I'm excited.
It's weird. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot to say.
We might have
Will Shrek send you to hell?
Yeah, and maybe Shrek 2.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. They kind of come together as like an item, I think, in my brain, but I don't know. Yeah, and then I wanted to say to the last we made some mistakes. The last 3 shows. It's not listeners. It's not your fault. Producer, not your fault. All right. Scheduling. We've been really hard on ourselves
and very strapped for time.
Very, very strapped for time. If you're unaware, I don't know how you would be if you're listening to this, but Michael's got the streams. We got edited videos we have to write.
We just have a lot of shit to do.
We're working on a VN. So there's a lot of stuff that we want to do, and we haven't had time to do that. Watching 4 movies in 2 weeks was hard. Watching all of Evangelion plus End of Evangelion in 2 weeks was... We're also working full time. It was hard. So we're just going to have to do these... Shrek we could probably do in 2 weeks. That's not that big a deal. Yeah. But if you want us to do some big stuff, they're just going to be... It's going to take longer. I'm not against doing... like The Sopranos or something would be cool. Something like that. Yeah. But that would be like... It takes a month, at least.
Yeah, I think we're definitely going to try to always do one a month. And if we do something really long...
That's for the patrons, because we have patrons who don't every month.
Exactly. And it'll almost certainly be more than that on most months. But we're just saying the schedule from this point on is going to be a little more flexible if what we're covering is long.
Yeah, exactly.
Like say we want to cover Breaking Bad, which I think would be really interesting. But like that's 5 seasons. It would take at least a month. So it's like, there wouldn't be... I mean, with something that long, we'd probably sneak in a movie or something.
Yeah.
Try to do that. But anyway, that's the point, is that like it's a little bit more flexible of a schedule. Still at least one a month, and usually it's going to be more. But just so you know.
Yeah. But it would have to be once a month because of those patrons. We can't do it without you. If you want stuff even more often, I would love to drop a day of work.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Help me out.
The more money we have, I am so close to just, like, dropping a day of work and having so much more time.
Yeah. So it really is kind of a one-to-one. Please, if you're getting value out of the show, give us some value back.
I mean, I'll binge Breaking Bad in a fucking week if I don't have to work.
It's not that hard.
Like, yeah. There might physically not be that many hours in a week. I don't know. Breaking Bad's pretty long, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. If you want us to do Lord of the Rings, I got to read a whole book. That takes a long time.
It's good, though.
It is good.
But yeah, it would take a while.
Yeah.
Harassment Architecture is short, which is why we'll do that at some point.
Yeah, totally. Back to the show. Back to the show.
Okay.
All right. What's your whole big brain analysis of the rebuilds then?
Okay. So I think there are 2 major themes, like 2 layers of the show, similar to the 2 layers.
To an onion.
Similar to an onion. It only has 2 layers. The layer you eat and the layer you don't. Think about that. Think about it. But so just like Evangelion had the layer of connecting to people, and then I think it also had a new age, anti-new age layer with a lot of the symbols and stuff. I'll get into it. And I've thought about this more, and also just the reading I've been doing.
I've thought about it more too.
And the more reading I've been doing and stuff, I've thought about it a lot. I'm probably going to make a video on the show and maybe the rebuilds too.
That means I have to make a video. That means I have to watch more Evangelion.
It'll probably be long and less edited, is what'll probably end up happening.
Okay, all right.
Anyway, but so I think there are 2 layers also to the rebuilds, which roughly correspond, which are, I think, second, the New Age one, but I'll get to that later. And first, connecting with other people being worthwhile. I think that's still a theme here. Except, I think all of the rebuilds are Hideaki Anno struggling with the fact that he thinks, and maybe he's correct, that the show failed to convince people to connect with other people, and that was worthwhile. So all of these movies are him struggling with the fact that he's fucked up. So, to get into this more, and like kind of his redemption almost, so first of all, it's still the basic, like, it's refuting the Human Instrumentality Project. Like, that's how the show culminates.
Explain what that is real quick.
Human Instrumentality Project is everyone being put into one consciousness. They have no borders between themselves, which is what the AT fields are. They have no, like, they're all one. They're all one. Very Eastern, and I'll get into that more.
Everyone's all connected.
But that way, since everyone's one, there's no conflict between each other because there's no each other. You know what I mean? So that would get rid of everyone's suffering. That idea, I think, is explored a lot better in Evangelion, the show. But I think that's because the focus on this is him trying to like make it more clear because he thinks he's fucked up. But anyway, it's the same idea. Like it ends the same way, refuting that. This one, they just make it simpler. It's just really Gendo who's fighting for that by the end. You know? And then what you get is throughout the movies, Shinji trying his best to do something and fucking up, which is very different than the show where he just doesn't want to do it and he can't come to terms with doing it.
He's wavering all the time in the show.
He's wavering in the show. In the movies, like the second movie ends with a near third impact where he thinks he saves Rei. And then the third movie starts with like, that was a terrible mistake. You killed like most of the population. And then later he tries it again with Kaworu. He like basically does it and everybody's like, you're fucking stupid. Don't do this. And he does it anyway and it fucks things up more. That is Anno with Evangelion. The reason he's making these movies again because he thinks his point did not get across, which is why the titles are very important. The first one is You Are Not Alone. So what he's doing is he's saying that's what he's trying to, connect with other people. So the first movie is literally, he's just trying to say this shit again so that people get it. His second movie is You Cannot Advance, which is even more. He's like, I can't move on until I express this theme to people. The third movie, You Cannot Redo. That's when he realizes fuck. It's not going to happen. And by the third movie, he's completely abandoned it. Or by the fourth movie, he's completely abandoned the idea. Not completely.
There's no subtitle.
He makes one. No, it's Thrice Upon a Time, but it's not
that's stupid.
Yeah. By the last one, I think he makes a Hail Mary kind of attempt, but he's mostly abandoned the theme, which is why it's nowhere near as strong. But yeah, so every time Shinji talks about everybody tells him don't pilot the Eva. They don't tell him. They don't say it in any other kind of way of saying it. They say don't pilot an Eva. And he's like, I need to pilot an Eva again. It's never I need to take the spears of Longinus. And, it's always phrased when people are telling him not to do it or he's saying he's going to do it. I'm going to pilot an Eva. I'm not going to pilot an Eva. Every time that's mentioned, it is one for one Anno making Eva.
I don't think that's too much of a stretch, especially considering how Evangelion was written kind of week to week about Anno himself, the kind of things he was going through. So it's
clearly self-inserting and
So that's directors do that, writers do that. So
and so he does attempt a little bit in the last movie, and so basically the point of Evangelion, it seems to be the show. The basic point was to get people to connect with other people. It was focused towards otakus who shut themselves in and focus on one hobby. And to be clear, otaku in Japanese doesn't just mean anime. It means you're obsessed with anything. There's train otakus. There's and Gendo.
I think there's a
autists. Yeah,
there's a pattern there.
Autists. Yeah, there's gun otaku, military history otaku. So yeah, autism.
Okay.
But Gendo at the end is shown that in his past he was an otaku. He did nothing but books and piano. Mm-hmm. Right, and so Anno is really trying to make it clear that theme, but he's also struggling with the fact that he fucked up. But he does admit to himself that some people got the right message. Because when he talks about near third impact is basically the release of Evangelion. And it killed almost everyone. Because he thinks in his mind, most people are going to be fucking doomed. Because instead of the otaku seeing the show and realizing, oh, I shouldn't just spend all my time, like they said in the show, finding one thing I like and doing nothing but that. I should go out and connect with other people. Instead, people watched Evangelion and said Asuka is so cool. I'm going to obsess over Asuka. I'm just now going to become an otaku about Evangelion, which was literally the opposite of what Anno wanted to happen.
That was part of my argument with the show. Is it seems like Seems like you're doing the opposite.
It was he wanted one thing, and a lot of people did the exact opposite. He seems to think most people.
You're kind of making a anti-otaku thing that became one of the most otaku things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And imagine if that's your frame of mind, how guilty you would feel. And that's why he portrays that in the show as killing most of the population. But he does come to terms with the fact.
I like this meta stuff you're doing. I like this.
He does come to the terms of the fact later when Kensuke tells Shinji that like Toji and the class president got together because of the hardships after the third impact. So even though most people died, you have helped some people. Like he says, good things too came from the near third impact. And so again, it's like that's Anno like realizing like, okay, I don't have to be so harsh on myself. Some people got the message. And then he kind of like self-fillets himself later when Misato says, we all would have died if you didn't get in the Eva at that point. So you're our destroyer and you're our savior. And it's like, okay, Anno. I don't think everyone would have fucking been an otaku if you didn't do it. But like, he's forgiving himself a little bit. But how does this all culminate in the end of the show?
Tell me. I want to know.
Shinji makes a world without Eva. But that's...
I get the meta.
Not just without Eva. What does he say specifically? He says in Japanese, it's 3 words. So it's very simple. He says... Sayonara, subete, Evangelion. So he says, goodbye, all of Evangelion. He doesn't say Eva. In the show and the movies, they almost always refer to Evas as Evas. Like even the markings on the side of it just say EVA.
Yeah.
He doesn't say goodbye, all Evas. He says goodbye, all of Evangelion. This is Anno saying, I'm fucking done. And not only am I done, I'm going to create a world without Evangelion. Which he does. Think about this. These movies, this is why I was saying earlier that the anger reaction might be the right reaction. Anno is trying, this is going to sound wild, but it's so clearly supported in the movies. He is actually trying to ruin Evangelion so that otakus don't obsess with it anymore.
It's all going according to plan.
But I'm 100% like being like sincere here. He is actually...
That is a very real possibility.
He's actually trying to ruin Evangelion so that people don't obsess with it anymore because he's realized he thinks he's done more harm than good. That Evangelion, just like Shinji thinks Evas have done more harm than good, so he gets rid of all of them. He thinks Evangelion itself has done more harm than good. So what does he do? He gets rid of all of them. But also, what does Anno do in the movies? Well... Think about otakus like obsessing over the show.
This is hilarious.
Yeah. Think about
like
otakus obsessing over the show. What do they obsess over? They obsess over Asuka and Rei. Always. So what does Anno do? He ruins Asuka and Rei. Because, so Rei in the movies, first of all, both characters actually, they're like sidelined for a fucking nobody. Okay, but Rei also, like, people like Rei.
Oh, because of Mari at the
end?
Is that what you mean?
Well,
okay.
Which I'll get into more. But so, like, Rei is, like, first of all, okay, why do people like Rei? They like her because...
I have no idea.
I know, it took some thinking. It took some research. It's supposed to be because she's subtle. She's like a subtle character growing from being, like, robotic to like, gaining emotions.
Yeah.
I don't think it connects well. Like, I am a person...
It's better in the rebuilds.
Yeah, well, see, okay, that's what I'm getting to.
Okay.
But I was going to say, in the show, I don't think it connects well. I don't get Rei as like, why everybody liked her. Like, I am literally a person who was robotic and then gained emotions. I should connect with this character more than anyone. I like Asuka better in the show. You know what I mean? But, so what does he do to ruin Rei? He kills her, basically. She's not in most of the movie. And then gets a fake version of Rei, shows how Rei could have been better, like has her grow in a better way, and then kills her again. And then like it's almost like making fun of the otaku. Like, you thought Rei like was well developed. Let me do it better and then kill her anyway, and just have her explain. It all was meaningless. Okay. Asuka, that he destroys in even worse of a way, which is what is the criticism of Rei? She's just a clone. She's like she's like a plot device. Now Asuka's a clone. Like literally, you've taken it's. In fact, you could even take it further. So like, why does everyone like Rey instead of Asuka? Because they like the kind of unemotional Rey.
Yeah.
So what do? He gives her emotions. Why does everybody dislike Rey but like Asuka? Because Rey is just a fucking clone. So what do? They make Asuka a clone. He's literally ruining the waifus so that these otakus won't be able to obsess about him anymore. And the real way that they show this is that both of them are replaced by a fucking nobody character, Mari, who ends up getting with Shinji at the end.
Yeah.
That can be seen as nothing but a fuck you.
It is.
And it's, you see what I'm saying?
Totally,
so he is literally trying to, the reaction I think he wants one of two reactions. He either wants you to finish this movie and say, I finally get it. I'm supposed to interact with other people, which he does do a Hail Mary. He does the Hail Mary with Shinji and Mari coming into the real world at the end. Uh-huh. It's like he's
the new real world.
Well, no, but I mean like, so the world restarts, but then they show them in the future,
right.
And they're literally in like Tokyo, like it's live footage. You know what I mean? Not live, but
remember,
yeah. So it's like he's trying to make it as fucking obvious as possible. You need to go outside. Go into the real world. But so he wants one of two reactions from this movie. He either wants you to say, I finally get it. I need to go outside. I need to interact with people. Thank you, Anno. That's his Hail Mary. He hopes that's what you do, I assume. Or he wants you to say, Hideaki Anno has ruined Evangelion. I hate it. I swear it. I don't want anything to do with it anymore. Because then at least he's wiped his hands clean of it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's what I think he wants out of this movie. And there's so many points throughout the movie where like Shinji struggling with like everyone telling him not to make Eva. That's all of his fans telling him after like 2 movies have already been made, fucking stop. Like stop doing, because that's what everyone was doing. And then also like people told Shinji throughout the movie that there's no sin that can't be atoned for. Mari says that and Kaworu says that. And I think Misato might say it actually also.
I think she does too.
But it's like there's no sin that can't be atoned for. And that's because all of these movies are
sin.
Anno trying to atone for his own sin.
Okay.
And he finally does that by killing his own creation. Goodbye, all of Evangelion.
Interesting.
Which is why when the guy you sent in the email said, like, do you think he's going to make another one? Not a chance. Literally, I think the point of this is that this is it. Like, it hasn't worked. I'm going to make one last attempt. I still have hope. But really, fuck this. It's gone. It's over. I'm trying to ruin Evangelion.
This is an interesting point, too, because it's almost... Was making a bad movie part of your plan?
Okay.
No, but it is like... he's clearly a really competent director.
Right.
So it's weird to just say, oh, he's dumb. He made these dumb decisions.
Right.
It kind of, this is giving him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he's smart. Because he is. I think it's clearly smart making this stuff. I think he made garbage, but I think he's smart. It's made so well.
And he thinks he made garbage.
That might be the case.
Yeah.
He's a depressed guy.
Yeah.
So maybe. Yeah. I think you might be right.
Well, thank you.
I don't know if you're definitely right, but I think maybe. I think he's too smart to have made all these dumb decisions he did.
Well, and it's like, it's not like,
movies.
He's not like saying like, I'm so great. Like the movies are about, he fucked up. He thinks he didn't do a good job. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think that's definitely what it's about.
Hey, oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense. I think there's a strong possibility that you're going to make a video about that one.
Yeah, probably.
Pretty strong possibility.
Yeah, I might do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think it's, I mean, the third movie, or the fourth movie, I mean, it hasn't been that long since it came out. So I don't know if anyone's really like expressed this yet. Even though I think it's definitely what he was trying to do. I don't know if there's like a good video or anything about it. So I might make a video in addition to this podcast, you know? Curious.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
anything else to add for that one? That's really cool.
For that one, I don't think so. I felt like there was one other little thing, but I can't remember it at the moment. But yeah, I definitely think destroying Evangelion and like atoning for his sins, that's the first theme. And, okay, actually, this is what I was gonna say. I think that's really fucking cool, actually, in a way. But it doesn't save it for me. I don't like it. I don't like the movie. You know
I still don't like it.
I think artistically, it's like what I said when we started. I think he did something like really interesting artistically, and like I don't really know other works that are like this, except like to some extent Kojima, like playing as Raiden in the second one was just a fuck you to his, you know what I mean? But this is way further than that, and but like it still isn't good, so I don't think it saves it. I think morally
it's still not worth watching, right?
That first theme morally is like neutral for me. Like he's trying his best to make his old shit more moral, really. But I don't think it wouldn't convince me one way or the other. It's just very interesting. Okay. So, second theme. The New Age, dude. So, I think Evangelion, like the original. So, like I said, I've been reading like New Age stuff. And this actually came to me more. Like, I already kind of talked about it in the last one, right? And I won't rehash too much. But I was listening to Roger Buck, the writer who, he was in the New Age, and then he was kind of an anthroposophist, and then he became Catholic. And he has these like kind of podcasts, just like these videos on YouTube where he talks about this kind of stuff. And I was listening to like one of his where he talks specifically about the New Age, and it's like he's describing Evangelion. And it's like so like I'm even more convinced that like it maybe it's on accident, but I don't think so. So I think the show and the movie both approach this idea of like Eastern philosophy and the New Age and like kind of refuting it. But they do it in different ways to where I think the show does it in a morally good way and the movies do it in a morally bad way. Like and like even though they're approaching the same issue, they approach it differently enough.
The New Age issue here.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And Eastern philosophy as well.
Everything becoming one.
Yeah. So first of all,
kind of.
what I'm talking about, the show being New Age, is that it has these Eastern ideas, right? Of like everyone. The fact that we're different is an illusion, and we're all actually one. And if we all realized that and came together as one, there would be no more suffering. There's no individuals. You know, that's a very Eastern idea that's also found in the New Age. But interestingly, New Age also contains the part that makes it not just a wholly Eastern like sort of idea, is that the New Age also contains Western psychoanalysis as part of its sort of like premises, which that's Evangelion. You know what I mean? It's Eastern ideas with Freudian psychology, and like that is New Age, like almost definitionally. Also, the title, which originally was, I've said before, Shinseiki Evangelion, which means New Generation Gospel. Mm-hmm. The New Generation Gospel could be the title of a New Age book, like legitimately. Totally. Because the idea of the New Age is also that we are leaving the age of Pisces and we are entering the age of Aquarius. And in the age of Aquarius, we're evolving. Like we're morally evolving onto like a higher plane.
This is some esoteric knowledge, dude.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's esoteric, and then at the same time, actually, this is worth mentioning. You said last time that like the New Age stuff, when I went into it, like how many people actually believe this Eastern bullshit, right? Roger Buck had a good example. He went to the number one, like biggest, they claim to be the biggest bookstore in Europe, but at the very least, it's like a really big bookstore in the UK. He said he went there and he went to the Christian section. He said there are 4 massive bookshelves full of Christian books. And he was curious. He's like, I wonder what the New Age section is like. 20 massive bookshelves. And like New Age books, they're bestsellers. You know what I mean? So like a lot of people believe this kind of shit.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And it's especially big.
You know, the more I talk to like the average people, the more you kind of hear stuff like that.
Do you know what the motto of the New Age is? Not officially, but you know what it really is?
What?
I'm spiritual, but not religious.
Oh, yeah. You hear that everywhere.
Exactly.
That's
a New Age idea. Okay. Because it's the idea that you don't need an institutional religion to reach. Just like Rudolf Steiner, anthroposophy, you can do it more directly. Do it yourself, spirituality.
Okay.
That's like a basis of New Age. So, a lot of things.
Wait. Isn't that like Baptist, like Protestant type stuff?
Well, that's why.
Sorry, that was just a burn.
No. It's actually a good point because New Age ideas are most popular in the U.S. and in England, big Protestant sectors. And the reason, it follows the same sort of through line, like I said before, with Rudolf Steiner, who is kind of a New Agey figure. Anthroposophy kind of falls into the bracket, at least, of New Age. where it's like Protestants first got rid of like the sacraments in the church, and now New Age is taking it a step further.
Okay.
You could also look at it in a different way, which is a lot of these Protestant organizations created a very literalistic, fundamental sort of like a religion without mystery, if that makes any sense. Like Protestant. There's no miracles. You know what I mean? There's the evangelical like miracle, but a lot of it is like very like, oh, the earth has to be exactly 4,000 years old. Very literalistic, right?
Oh, like fundamental type.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, I see what you mean.
And those are the countries where that's really big. It's where the New Age is thriving because it's a reaction to that. Because what they're really seeking is the mystery of Catholicism, like the mysteries and the miracles and like that have been just completely taken away from Protestantism.
People need
but instead
mystical religion. It's like a biological thing. People need it.
Yeah, like personal revelation and like meditation and stuff like that is like completely absent. Like meditation is a Western thing. Like it's part of Catholicism, but it's absent from like Protestantism. But because none of these New Agers have any real exposure to Catholicism, they go to the New Age.
I think you're gonna get some emails for the next show from Protestants.
Possibly, yeah. Converting.
Dude, please. No. Yeah, send some emails. We'd love to talk about stuff.
Yeah, but well, and just for an example, this was the case with Roger Buck. He was raised in a Protestant environment. Mm-hmm. He went to the New Age because he never knew anything about Catholicism. But then he read that book by Tom Berg, Meditations on the Tarot, and was like, this is it. Like, this is the real deal. Like, this is,
yeah.
You know.
Okay.
So, this is just kind of giving examples of like what I think the show is kind of like. The show also has all these Gnostic symbols, which are used a lot in New Age. A lot of like, but just basic.
Kabbalah, Kabbalistic.
Oh, absolutely.
Jewish mysticism.
Yeah. These are all well, and like those.
I kind of push back on people saying a lot of stuff is Christian because it's really Jewish mysticism.
A lot of it is either Jewish or Gnostic.
Yeah.
In fact, even in the movies, so there's a Lance of Longinus, which is Christian. But then they have also the Lance of Gaius and Lance of Cassius. Do you know what those are in reference to?
No idea. They sound familiar.
Apparently it's apocryphal. I didn't look too much into it, but apparently it's a Gnostic sort of apocrypha that Longinus's full name was Gaius Cassius Longinus. Oh. So just another Gnostic, you know. I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's not that important, but so yeah, like steeped in Gnosticism and just the basic premise of the show before Shinji rejects it is Eastern theology mixed with Freudian psychoanalysis, which is New Age.
Okay.
So what happens in the show is that's what almost everyone in the show wants at some level or another, and Shinji rejects it, and he looks at the cross, right? And I took that as a Christian message, even though it's clearly not intentional. And part of the reason too why you can take that as a Christian message, because I think this is a digression, but I think it's interesting. I mean, this is all kind of a digression, but I think it's interesting.
Listening to a podcast is digression of real life.
Exactly. Yeah. But so, because people might not know this, I've actually run into people who think that when Christians die, they believe that like they're going to become like some sort of we're going to become part of God, or like we're not going to have individuality. But like Christianity holds a big importance to individuality, which is why Shinji looking at the cross at the end when he chooses individuality is not just like it means more, even if it's accidental, or a better word, providential. But even if it's accidental, or the muse, the angelic muse speaking to Anno, but regardless.
Or it could be that Christianity is seen as strange in Japan, so the cross often represents just general foreignness.
Maybe.
And he was choosing something different.
Yeah, that's probably the case, but I'm just saying that might be what his intention was, but that's not what the art is necessarily. Definitely
a certain interpretation, correct.
So, so it means something that when he chooses individuality, he looks at the cross. So yeah, what I was going to say is, it really is a Christian idea that individuality is important. And a couple points of that is one, that Christ became man. If the individual wasn't important and we were just supposed to believe in sort of like a divine, like ambiguous God, then, that goes completely. Christianity is the opposite of that. Christianity is about a God who was a specific person at a specific period of time.
Yeah.
I mean, the Trinity also as a whole, obviously. I'm not, but individuality is obviously so important that God took on individuality as a person. Not just that.
Okay.
Not just that, but God made people in the first place.
Where are you going with this?
Just let me go off for a little bit.
Okay.
So then also God made people in the first place as to be separate beings that could love him. So again, that's an anti-New Age idea, in that the New Age thinks that, and Eastern philosophy in general, thinks that we're all actually one and we need to realize that and come together. Whereas Christianity is, like, from the very beginning, a separation. Like, there needs to be a separation between people. Which is also just basic stuff like you can't have anything without something else, if that makes sense.
That fundamentally that would address the problem of pain, interestingly.
Yeah, you could take it that way, for sure. And there's more. I'm already going down a long rabbit hole, and I've got a little bit more to say. I won't go down that rabbit hole as well. Okay. But for instance, that's why the Eastern call for everyone being one is really just it's a death cult. It's a return. It's calling for nothingness. Because the reason I am me as an individual is because I'm not you. I'm not the air we're breathing. I'm not the garage we're in. You know what I mean? So if we're all one, then I'm nothing. I'm not an individual. And you have to be an individual. Like, all of Christianity is based on the fact that people are individuals. And one more interesting point about that, about the necessity for other people to exist, or other things at least, for anything to really exist, can be seen, I think, in Adam and Eve. I was meditating on this sort of idea. And so Adam was made first, right, in the image of God. And then a rib was taken from Adam to make Eve. I think you could make the argument to some level that, and if I'm wrong and this is heretical, then don't listen to this. Tell me and I'll change my mind. I was just thinking about this. You know what I mean? I'm fallible. But Adam, in a sense, maybe not literally, but in a sense, was not male until there was a female. And at first, that sounds like that's fucking wacky, Michael. What the fuck are you talking about? It kind of
makes sense.
But think about it.
It kind of makes sense.
Adam was created, and then a rib was taken away from Adam to make the woman. That rib could be seen as the rib of DNA, as in XY versus XX in women. Men literally have one less rib.
I like that one.
Men literally have one less rib than women. And so if you take it that way and you think of it as God took away one of the ribs of man's DNA to make woman, then it was the very act of making woman that caused man to have XY DNA, therefore making him a man. Interesting. So it's the same thing where if you're everything, you're nothing. It's the same, you can't have male without female. So it wasn't.
Makes sense. Why would there even be a term for that? That's just
exactly.
That's just what a person is.
Exactly. Yeah. So the very act of creating female, in a way, made male.
Yeah.
You know.
At least linguistically, but of course, words are extremely important in.
Right. Yeah, logos.
Yeah.
But so all of this to say that I think it's really important that in the show, Anno has something that is clearly New Age, and when that is refuted, Shinji looks at a cross. I think that means, and he's choosing individuality while looking at the cross, because a Christian is an individual religion. You know what I mean? In a lot of ways.
Yeah, okay.
So I think that's very important. All of that I'm saying because that is actually one more point. That is not what happens in the movies. Let me finish my thought on this. That's not what happens in the movies.
Okay.
It's also the fact that you can't have goodness without suffering, just like you can't have people, that's what he gets in the end, is you need to have suffering in order to have love, so I accept that. So, in the movie, it's different. So, to summarize it, the show, anti-New Age and anti-Luciferian and anti-transhumanist, because that's what Seal is trying to do, is not just to because Eastern would be more like recognizing that we're all the same and trying to work towards that in some ambiguous way.
Transhumanist is about the action.
Transhuman is about making it so.
Yeah, okay.
Right? And same with Luciferian is almost like well, they're Luciferian in other ways, but transhumanist is maybe the best way to put it. Okay. So, anti-New Age, anti-transhumanist, pro-Christian, even if accidentally. I believe the movies are anti-New Age to some extent and anti-Christian.
Okay, why are they anti-Christian?
Okay, because the message at the end of it is, instead of looking at the cross and saying, I choose individuality, instead, characters in the show define it differently. Like, it's kind of the same action, right? But what they say about it, what's surrounding it is different, which is Mari and I think Masato both say something along the lines of, because of man's willpower and knowledge, we don't need divine help.
Yeah.
That is transhumanist and Luciferian.
Her organization is even called Will.
Yeah. It's almost Nietzschean, actually, if you think of it that way. German names, too. But
yeah. Oh, yeah, okay.
But, so now, instead of... It's actually... It's not just Luciferian and transhumanist. It's also Pelagian. Like, it's like, I can become a good person without grace. I don't need divine help. So, like, the movies are still refuting New Age and Eastern ideas. It's still doing that. We should not all become one being, this is wrong, we should be individuals, but we should be individuals that, like, don't need divine help.
Yeah.
And
there is a lot
that
of
is a big difference, right? Between looking at a cross, I need to be an individual, and we don't need divine help. We need to be individuals.
Yeah.
Huge. It's like Luciferian individualism. And then also you have what I'd call almost that, and I'd say that's almost a Western mistake in a way. Like Anno, by showing the cross, shows like the Western solution to Eastern ideas, but by showing this kind of individualism, he's showing like the Western mistake. Not that he's showing it as a mistake. That's why I think it's bad. He's showing it as a solution. But he's showing the Western mistake, which is individuality taken to be anti-divine, right? And he also has another Western mistake in this, which is that at the end of Evangelion, the movie, as in the end of the show, you know what I mean? Confusing thing to say.
Wait, what? Try that again.
End of Evangelion, the movie.
Okay.
So also the end of the show and Evangelion, because it ends with that movie.
Yeah. Okay,
so not the rebuilds.
Yeah.
At the end of the show.
Yeah. Fuck Anno, dude.
I know. Yeah. Shinji comes to term with all of this and like chooses a world with suffering, chooses a world with individuals, looks at the cross, and then also accepts his feelings. Like as not only does he say, well, here's the thing. It's supposed to be that it's worth interacting with other people, even though it's painful. And he accepts that, which is shown at the end, where he confirms that he's in a world of suffering. He like is choking Asuka, and then he cries. He cries. That is super important, because in the Evangelion movie, he does not cry. Instead, he says, I'm not going to cry anymore, which is a sort of Western. It's also seen in Eastern stuff, but because he's refuted Eastern, I'm looking at Western. That's like a Stoic idea, which is you need to have no emotions, which is not a Christian idea. The Christian idea, Tomberg actually writes about this. I've seen like snippets of it, which is the gift of tears, right? Like, I mean...
Well, it's not just him. Everyone knows.
Well, Christ wept.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
I mean, Saint
mercy.
Thomas Aquinas writes about how good it is to cry.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a value to it. And whereas that value was really actually shown in the show, he specifically says he's not going to cry anymore. And that's supposed to be him growing as a person, we're supposed to believe, in the movie. And so it's, again, huge difference. And it makes me think of, like I said, the Western mistake. It reminds me of Stoicism, which there are certain, I think it was Xenophon actually, but there's a couple examples where like there was a Stoic whose son had died, and the news was given to this Stoic, and he said, I didn't suppose I had raised an immortal. No emotion at all. And it's like, there's something unhuman about that.
Yeah.
And so, whereas I think Evangelion, the show, calls for people to be more individual in a way that makes us more human. which is both Christianity, because Christianity makes people more human, both by having emotions and not being, the Eastern idea of everyone's the same. But also that noise. So it does it in that way, and also more human by like having emotions and caring for other people, mercy and empathy and like Christ died for all of our sins, that you certainly cared about us. I know someone's stealing your car.
I think my wife is driving somewhere. I don't know where she's going.
But
hopefully someone's not stealing my car.
But anyway,
in my garage.
Yeah. Anyway, on the other end though is the movie, which shows individualism being good in a very wrong, Luciferian, stoic, anti-Christian way. So my final sort of thought is that while I'm even more convinced now that the show has a good message, although if I'm going to listen to Anno, apparently it's not well received, but I still think
I didn't receive it well. Good on Anno.
So, but yeah, my final, I'm seeing even more value in the show, but the movie will send you to hell. The movies, the rebuilds will send you to hell. They are anti-Christian in a number of ways, as I've said,
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I think both will send you to hell, but I think the rebuilds will.
The rebuilds are anti-Christian.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't even think people are gonna. The average person is gonna be able to sit through enough of this shit to even get to that part of the movie.
Yeah, well,
I wanted to turn it off. I was bored.
They were released over the course of like 14 years.
I guess
so. It's a little different.
Yeah, I guess, but no, I think I forgot about that Will stuff.
Yeah,
it's not a huge part of the movie, but it's a very important part of the movie.
It's like their justification for not, because in the show everyone wants the Human Instrumentality Project. In the movie, almost everyone doesn't want it. It's like just Gendo and like Fusky, basically.
Yeah.
So Anno needs to justify why they're not for it anymore. When they were in the show, and it's because we don't need divine help. So it's like that's a big difference.
That is quite a good. Hey, wow, impressive! You were able to maintain enough focus to catch that one. Go a theme.
It helped that I liked the first half of that movie.
I guess I liked the first half of it. Well, I was medium on the first half of it.
I really liked the first half. I think Anno, like I said before, I feel like the last movie is a Hail Mary. Like part of him is still hoping people will get the message. And I think he does a commendable job.
Are you going to watch that documentary about him on Amazon Prime?
There's a documentary about him?
Yeah.
Did it come out after the show? Or after the movie?
It came out like right before. I'm not sure. They're both out now.
I'd be interested. I'm kind of interested.
I'm a little bit interested, but I can't see Shinji's fucking face one more time for my entire life.
Yeah. I might watch it.
It's the last 4 weeks of my life have been nothing but Evangelion.
I would need a cool down period, I think.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. I really like your whole meta idea about the last movie. Kind of all of them. I think that's very interesting. It's also kind of something that I kind of felt was a personal fuck you, was when we see in the time skip in the third and fourth movies, we didn't get any Misato fan service. What the hell was that? All of a sudden we have Misato as a MILF. And not a single frame of fan service.
That's him ruining Misato's waifu too.
He did even ruin Misato.
Makes her not sexy, makes her a deadbeat mom, and no longer a pedophile. And that's what everybody liked about her. So.
Shut the fuck up. I don't even like Misato, but you're wrong about that one. But
I think I'm right about the first two things.
She's a MILF, and we never took advantage of it. But we got to see more 14-year-old girls.
Yeah, a new one.
How there's no plot reason at all for them to. There's just a throwaway line. It's like, Curse of the Evas keeps you looking 14.
They never explain it. It's crazy how they don't explain it. It's never explained.
It's just like,
I thought they were going to explain it, and they don't. But I think that's a plot point.
I think it's so you can say, see, now it's okay to masturbate to him because they're actually 28.
No. I think it actually ties into his idea of like what he sees as the curse of Evangelion, which is that
it keeps you 14.
Yes, actually. Like, he wanted to save these otaku from being, like, mentally 14 in a lot of ways. And instead...
But they're not mentally 14.
I know what you mean. But, like, they're childish. But instead, him releasing Evangelion had the opposite effect, and all these people are still otaku. So I think that's why at a thematic
I don't know.
level...
Let's Occam's razor that one. Now you get to keep them as 14-year-old girls, which is what everyone likes about them.
Oh, okay. To be clear, yeah. I mean, but that's why he did it.
Yes, clearly.
Yeah. I think just that line in particular that, like, attempts an explanation is, like, goes into a bigger theme.
28-year-old girls can be attractive. Like, why do we gotta...
I think
beautiful women of color, excuse me.
I think if he, like, was actually trying to make, like, a real excuse, like, why they're 14, he would have actually explained it. That's why I think that line is, like, he doesn't care. This is just how he ties into his theme, and he cares about his theme because he wants to say, fuck you, you know? That's what I think. But yeah, it's like...
It's a little gross.
Evangelion, I can forgive mostly. And, like, the rebuilds, I really can't forgive that stuff. You know? It has, like I said before, it just has no merit in the rebuilds.
Yeah. The whole rebuilds have no merit.
I think it's interesting. Okay.
I wouldn't recommend a single person ever watch them for any
That
reason.
I was going to ask. Okay, so you think it would send you to hell, no one should ever watch it.
Yeah. Like on every level, I mean, you have all the sexuality, you have it's not beautiful, it's not well done. It's
just parts.
I would say but those parts are so bad. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad. Even the action, which should be cool, was bad. In the show, you at least had, here's an enemy. This is why it's bad. Here's our clever solution. You don't even have that.
No, you don't. You really don't.
At all.
And there are no stakes. There's no. I mean, there are stakes, but
the Rhombus was better in the rebuilds.
It was kind of cool. You know.
But yeah, I see. No beauty merit, no good merit, no true merit, really. If we're talking about the transcendentals. I guess if you're doing a deep dive into Hideaki Anno, trying to figure out what he's all about, maybe watch it, but don't watch it expecting anything good.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mostly agree. Like, I think this show, not the show, the movies, the rebuilds, will send you to hell. Basically, no one should watch it. But I will asterisk that like, what Anno does, trying to ruin his own product, I think is interesting enough that I could see recommending this movie in like a scholarly sort of way.
That's kind of what I'm saying.
You know, teaching a class on like postmodern filmmaking or something.
Yeah.
I would maybe say, with big asterisks, watch this movie, watch these movies. But otherwise, like I said before, who's the demographic? I know who it is now, thinking about it. It's the otaku that he didn't reach before.
Yeah.
But other than that small group of people, if they even get the right message, maybe not small group, but they probably won't get the message, which he says himself, basically. Everyone else, I don't see the point. If you like Evangelion, then this is a big fuck you. If you got the theme, it's just patronizing and a big fuck you. If you don't like Evangelion, then like this means nothing to you. You wouldn't watch it anyway. So you know what I mean? Like you really do need to watch the show to watch this.
There's that one guy in the Discord who watched these first.
Yeah, that's insane.
I don't even understand why.
You really do need to watch the show to watch this in the first place. So if you don't like Evangelion, it's not for you. So the only way it's for you is if you liked Evangelion so much that you're obsessed with it. And if you watch this, that will either ruin it for you or hopefully like change your mind.
Or you become a Luciferian.
But then you still have the other moral issue that now if you watch Evangelion and you take the moral that you're supposed to connect with other people, it presents that in a Christian way. But now you'll try to do that in a Luciferian, like transhumanist way. And it's like, so now I can't recommend it to anyone. Like really, other than a scholarly level. That's the only exception I could even see. But yeah, don't watch it. It'll send you to hell.
Yeah, don't watch it. Well,
all right.
This was a fun episode.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
I'm glad you didn't try and defend these movies because I would have been.
No, I don't think they're good. I mean, I defend them in so far as I mean, it's like
there's a couple of good things I have to say about him. There's a lot of cool ideas in him.
Exactly.
What kind of pisses me off most about it is a big missed opportunity, I think.
Yeah.
I think a lot could have been done.
Sure.
Even though I hate Evangelion, there's a lot of cool ideas in there. I think he fumbled the end, but I think he could have really made it great. But he didn't. He made it worse.
Yeah, and I think it's like, question everything and hold fast to what is good. There are some good things in there, and I'm always going to be like willing to find out what those are. But in this case, especially, the ends don't justify the means.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Well, hey, now you're a rock star. We're doing Shrek next.
Oh yeah, Shrek.
Send us those emails. willitsendmetohell@gmail.com. PayPal.me/willitsendmetohell. And PayPal. Oh no, that's the other one. Patreon. Patreon.com/willitsendmetohell.
And if you're interested in fucking me ham-fisting theological ideas into pieces of media, you should check out That's What I Do. Or I try somewhat. You should look at Yeoman video. You Google it. Look at my analysis videos.
Yeah. We got a recent video on. He writes them, I edit them. We got something on how anime might make you trans.
Yeah, it's a hypothesis.
Yeah, I think evil will probably make you trans too, just because of all the.
You want to end it with a fun fact?
Yes.
I think you probably know what fun fact I'm talking about.
I don't know this fun fact. Tell me the fun fact.
I mentioned it to you on when I was streaming.
I don't listen to you when you talk.
Oh yeah, whatever. There's a one line in both the show and the movies.
Oh, I know this.
It's repeated.
Yeah, we'll end with this fun fact.
Yeah.
It's a good fun fact.
They repeat the line, so it must be important. Like word for word, they repeat it, and it's translated in English to like, is this the boy we were talking about earlier? But it's in Japanese. It's like Rei no otokonoko desu ka or something like that. Which Rei, the word, means what we referred to earlier. So what we referred to earlier. Too fast.
People don't know this stuff.
Okay.
So you're saying Rei. Rei is also a word in Japanese.
Rei is a word in Japanese that means what was referred to earlier. And then no is like an apostrophe S. And then otokonoko means young man.
Okay.
So what we referred to earlier's young man. So the man we referred to earlier.
Okay.
Rei is also, obviously, because this is a spoken line, is Rei, the character. So it's ambiguous. It could mean, is this Rei's boy? Mm-hmm. Like, is this Rei's man? Which is interesting. It's interesting to think about that that's ambiguous.
Because of the clone thing and all that.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, Rei is literally his mom, basically, so it's an interesting idea. But also, the word otokonoko has, especially more modern, it's a slang word because if you write it the same way but you change the character for that ko at the end, it means like girly boy or trap or like... It's a word used for like men who dress up as women, basically, like cross-dressing and stuff like that. So it could also be, is this the cross-dresser we talked about earlier? Is this the girly boy we talked about earlier?
Yeah.
Or it could also mean, is this Rei's girly boy? So it's interesting that you say it could, because Shinji is like a girly guy, so it actually fits. It's funny, that like it fits like that. But so yeah, maybe it will make you trans if you relate too heavily to Shinji.
I think that's a very fun fact.
No, thanks, dude. We'll end with that.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.